we are now live with some of the distinguished Levee Mural artists here in Pueblo. And my name is Bree Papin, and I am the Museum Services Coordinator here at the Pueblo Library District. And I'm very excited to bring you tonight's program, which is part one in the Pueblo Community Art and Artist celebration this month for actually be May and June, that we are really recognizing art forms and artists of Pueblo community. And I am really pleased to be joined by Cynthia Ramu tonight, Kara Wiley, Tia Munson, and Dr. Yes. And I'm excited to, hi everybody, thank you so much for being here tonight. And we're really excited to talk about the Levee Mural. It's a huge project that's been a lifetime, it seems, of completion, and just it's the exciting elements that it's going to be presenting to Pueblo. And Cynthia will be talking more about that. I'm going to just turn it over to Cynthia right now, and she's going to tell us some history of the murals at the Pueblo Levee and introduce us to the artists. So Cynthia, it's all yours. I'm so excited again. Thank you so much for joining us, and can't wait to hear everything. So take it away. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bree. This is kind of exciting. I've always wanted to do this in a variety of forums, but you know, the Pueblo Levee was actually created after the 1921 flood, and it was constructed in the mid-20s finally, where they diverted the water. So of course they created almost a 3-mile long concrete wall that was around 60 feet tall that, did I say 45-degree angle, just to make it more fun, with the river below in case we had another flood. So over the years, it kind of became this giant invitation canvas for people to go out and create artwork. And my recollection is probably in the 70s was where a lot of the artwork came from in the first place. And it was a lot of people just going behind their house and putting up stuff. I met a guy that put a giant ducky behind his house, and artists used it as a canvas quite a lot. And right about 1978, the Teehee artist actually started coming out in the middle of the night because it was illegal to paint on the levee. And so right about that time, the idea was to make it legal with a permit because of liability and so on. And of course, they were doing it in the middle of the night. I heard a lot of stories about how they prepped and planned for a very long time. So from that special night where they all got chased by the police and they went in different directions, the DA proposed that there was a process for doing permits. An artist that was teaching at CSUP, along with some of these students, proposed that he could get free paint from around the state, and he started collecting it every May. So Cinco de Mayo was usually the time when artists came together. It wasn't really orchestrated beyond that time, but he always showed up with paint and everyone grabbed it and everyone went for it. And then Dave was the carrier of the permit with the local conservancy district. And right about that time in the late 80s, I was visiting Pueblo and I got on board. And actually the paint recycling in the state started because of Dave Roberts. And so we still have the access to recycled paint in the state, as these guys know, or these ladies, or, you know, everybody knows. So we were able to get it into the Guinness World Book of Records as the largest outdoor mural gallery in the world in 1995. We kept that record for 23 years until FEMA would not approve the Pueblo Levee mural as it was, or the slabs on the wall. They were slipping, and the concrete out there was not consistent, and the load was too heavy, so it had to be rebuilt. Unfortunately, we were not able to save any of the murals on the wall except for a section, and the contractor was able to save the Corn Maiden, of which we have that slab. And we're waiting to install that in a permanent location. Meanwhile, from 2016 to 2020, I was working with a group of artists and the Conservancy District how to regroup and reorganize to start the new murals. I'm very excited to say it's been a wonderful journey with artists all over the state. In less than 1 year, we completed over 55 brand new murals on the wall. So at the same time, I'm checking my time here. I could talk forever. So at the same time, what was it? We're taking in applications like crazy. Also, I painted on the levee 35 years ago, and I was not a muralist. I learned how to crawl around out there on my booty, and I learned how to make my mistakes, as everyone learns. And I got a couple grants through the Colorado Humanities and the National Endowment for the Arts, and I've helped work on over 30 murals over that time. So right now, you know, my dream was to help be a conductor or a director so that all the artists have access to everything they need and the support to paint out on the wall. So we'll do a Q&A later, and anyone out there that has questions or suggestions or ideas. Another part that we're working on right now is a historic section, and we've been waiting for the wall to cure from 4th Street going downstream to the Main Street Bridge. And so at this point, we already have 3 approved that are in progress this weekend. And then we've got another 4 that are being submitted this month. So we're gonna share a link also for anyone that would like to apply or anyone that would like to follow the Pueblo Levee Mural Project. And you can, all of that comes right back to me with all those questions. But I'm very excited too that we are helping host the very first Summer Solstice Festival on Saturday, June the 18th, all day. We'll have a fun run in the morning. We'll have a drum circle. We have over 50 vendors. We've got about 8 sponsors. And we'll have music all day. We'll have Mike Clark as our headliner in the evening. And then right about 7:30, we're going to start gathering for the lantern parade across the lit pedestrian bridge on top of the levee murals. And there'll be mural painters all that day. So I hope I didn't go over my time yet, but I'm almost close. So we're just so excited to celebrate what we're doing. All of these artists are rock stars. Some of them are starting their 11th or 12th mural. So anyway, so with no further ado, I'm going to introduce Kara Wiley. So Kara, would you share your experience?
So, hi, I'm Kara Wiley. I am not really a muralist. I, like Cynthia said, I just kind of hopped out there on the wall. I had an idea and I tried to figure it out. So my story is I'm actually a teacher, and when COVID hit, I couldn't buy enough canvases to keep me busy. So I started on my walls. And so you could see my Aspen Grove that I painted for myself. And then I have Pikes Peak and I have Kansas. And I just started painting my walls and and Cynthia saw them and was like, hey, that's really, really cool. You should like share that with more people. So I got an idea together, and it had to do with the Colorado flag. And it was kind of like an idea, but it wasn't set in stone, and I didn't really like the trees on my plan, and I saw them big, but I couldn't make them little. But Cynthia was like, get out there and try. Just get out there and get going and see what happens. And so it took me a lot longer than it's taken a lot of the other some of our muralists can finish a mural in like, how long does it take you? Weeks. Weeks. Like, yeah, well, it's weeks compared to my months. But yeah, it was something that I had never done, and I was excited to try something new and share my ideas and share my art. And I love what happened with it. Like, I ended up painting every single individual leaf on my cottonwood tree, like individually. It was great. It was wonderful. It ended up taking a lot more time than I thought it would, but it was great, and great therapy. Oh, wonderful therapy to get out there and be exercising and be in the sun and have the creativity just flowing. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And then I that was last summer, and then I've taught all school year, and so summer's coming again, so I'm coming up with ideas. So hopefully I'll be able to do a mural every summer and just use that as my creative outlet.
Great. Is there any advice you'd like to share with new people, or any ahas that you've discovered yourself?
So the most important thing that I did for myself was I built myself a shelf so I could have my paint on the levee with me, because I saw like drips and people going back up to get paint after every time they got the paint out of their brush. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so much effort and work. And I just want the paint here with me. So I built a shelf. I went out and I measured the exact angle, and I built myself a shelf that like fits on the levee, and I tie it to the fence on the top. And that way I have access to the tools that I need while I paint. So that was really cool. The other really important thing for me was a bucket of soapy water. Every morning when I would go out, I'd take a bucket of soapy water, so when I got done with my tools, I could just throw them in there. And then even if I wasn't able to unload my car immediately, my tools were still like able to use the next time I went out. So
that's great. That's great. Yeah, and you came up with that tool for house painting, that suction loaded.
Yeah. So I actually had a house painting, like a battery powered roller that would suck the paint up to where you could hold a quarter of a gallon at a time and just keep putting it on. And that worked great for the priming.
That was great. So do you have an idea for a new piece?
I'm not there yet. This has been a stressful school year.
I'm with you. I remember.
I'm thinking, though, it's in my head. I just don't have anything out of my head yet.
Great. Well, and actually, you got to help us on the Ukraine sunflower.
I had my hand in it for sure. And I think actually Tia and I were talking about going out and finishing it tonight. So yay!
Oh, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. So for anyone out there, actually, I kept thinking our format is so perfect for us to do a collaborative out there, and like identify in history this time and of this going on, and sending some love around the world from some artists, and just keep touching it every weekend. So it was interesting because I kind of didn't have my levee legs on yet, and I had an injury. So we were all out there negotiating and collaborating how this was going to turn out, and it had its challenges. But in the translation, everybody worked it out really great. And I'm so excited because there's so many possibilities on the levee for everyone, and some people work better by themselves, and on occasion collaboratives can work, and but most artists like to work alone. So Kara, that's awesome, and thank you for sharing. And I hope you guys will come out and check out the Ukraine sunflower. It's right behind Dutch Clark. It'll be obvious to you. And then, oh, yeah. And then what do we do with the sunflower seeds?
We planted sunflower seeds in the river. So on the little island that runs through the river, Tia and I walked through and we planted sunflower seeds along there. So we're hoping that this fall we'll have the big, huge sunflowers growing between the river walk and the sunflower mural.
Great. We're going to find out at some point. They're going to be everywhere. They're going to be everywhere. Okay. So, anything else you want to share right now?
No, but thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my experience.
Yeah. And I hope your students are watching, and my ex-students, and our any new artists or anyone that we have so many things coming up. So be sure and follow our page on Facebook, the Pueblo Levee Mural Project. You can just like it and you'll get updates all of the time. And then think about joining us for the summer solstice, because a lot of these artists will be out there. And I know the next artist we're going to talk to will be out there most likely during that time, or have her mural almost done. Haha, maybe. So thank you, Kara. We'll come back to Tia.
All right.
Hello, Shannon.
How are you?
How are you?
It's been a week. Our poor little old dog is having seizures, and so we've been playing caretaker. So everything kind of was put on hold, but I'm glad I get this time to take a break and chat with y'all.
Great. Yeah, you are the bomb out there. Honestly, like everyone's different, and everyone's power and energy, is so individual. And I love watching you out there. I bet you haven't got any sun on your body yet, right?
No, oh no. I can't go in the sun. I'll get like 2nd-degree burns out there, and so I am completely covered except for my toes and my hands.
So I'm going to let you jump in. Would you like to share what it's like to be on the wall and maybe some goals you have?
I was super terrified last year when Jen kind of got us together to start helping her. And I am afraid of heights. I am afraid of climbing, all of that. So I still have a lot of that kind of nervousness in me every day. So I'll just like stand on the edge and just kind of like put it out there in the universe. Don't let me fall. Don't let me fall down this wall. And it's been such a rewarding experience physically, because it's also going hand in hand with some work I'm doing in therapy with some body trauma stuff. So like going into my sessions every week in therapy and then going out there and just like rolling all of my feelings out in the paint has been super spiritual. It's been absolutely wild. So I'm super grateful for the timing of this, because just like literally going out there and just exhausting myself in the paint has been amazing.
Great. So do you want to talk a little bit about maybe your first mural and then the new mural?
Sure. My first one, I don't really know, I guess, what is straight across from it. I think it's houses. But I wanted to do a big piece for my first one because I knew my second project was going to require a little bit more planning. So I did these big eyeball flowers, which I've muraled on some other walls here in town. And they're a ton of fun to do because I love painting big eyes on things that stare at people while they're walking. And that was a really good experience because I didn't do any gridding. I just went out there with spray and just started making shapes. And then over the weeks, just slowly kind of refined that shape. And I think it really prepared me now that I have something that requires a lot more gridding and planning too. So that piece was a little bit more fun. And then my current mural is the history of St. Mary Corwin Hospital. The hospital's been a huge staple for the workforce here in Pueblo. Almost all of us know somebody who was either born there, worked there, died there. It's a huge part of the community. I worked there for years and I'm fascinated with its history. So I'm just focusing on the architecture of it. It used to be the old CF&I hospital all the way through the different building changes. So I'm kind of capturing that, which has been really fun to partner with the library and go through all those old archives and kind of make this design. And then I'm halfway through primering it this past week.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's neat to see the progress. and how interesting, you're making it happen. It's within 100 feet wide.
100 feet
Right.
wide, and it's a free floating shape. So I have the challenge of doing the outline first and then primering just the inside, because I really wanted it to float out there. So that's been a real challenge, but I think I pulled it off, and I'm super happy with the way the outline looks so far.
Great.
Only a little bit of crying involved. It's fine.
No. Well, I won't say what my grandmother used to say.
Oh, well, now you have to.
Oh, really? I'd be crying as a teen, and she'd say, well, the more you cry, the less you pee. Just drink
It's
some
such a
more
good,
water.
I think, you drink some more water, go out there and cry and just be in the moment, because I think we're in the midst of such greatness out there, and I'm so aware of what we're on top of and who was there and the things that are out there, and I'm just overwhelmed with it, and it's very emotional.
That I'm with you, and I think every single artist that we talk to, it's not like I've done this before, I'm just going to wing it, whereas each day you have a different experience, and you're in the middle of nature, and actually right where your mural is where I first was introduced to the levee, and it was from crossing the railroad track looking down.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know what it looked like on the other side, and I lived in Denver. So, and right where you're at is where the fish in the bathtub was.
Hot cod, and I want to do some ode to some of those pieces that are underneath, even just like hiding it in the windows of the building or something. Yeah, Kara, and I totally am up to hearing other people's ideas, because I think it's the ultimate chance to collaborate between, and some of those artists aren't alive anymore. Like, we get the chance to really just make ode to the whole thing.
Yeah. And I'd have to say we're pretty lucky. I was handed photographs originally from from Dave Roberts of what the wall looked like before I even got involved. And then, I've got a lot of the documenting. So the archives are on the library site, their historic site, and the documentaries. So, we're archiving right now as much as we can. And your footage that you're doing with your drone is killer. So you guys got to check it out, definitely. And it is a collaborative space for sure. Is there anything else you'd like to share, Shannon? You are a rock star, and you got a grant, right? From
I
CCI?
did. Yep. Grant through Colorado Creative Industries, and I wrote it because I was trying to contribute to the community, do this research, and preserve a part of Pueblo history. But honestly, I'm just really honored to be doing the work and being out there with all of you. It's pretty wild. So remember, we're living the dream.
Definitely.
Yeah,
what's your next mural?
I am ready to do some more historical research. I'm going to keep my eyes out for any calls for that, because I am a history buff, and I am on board for doing more historical weirdness.
And we're always looking for sponsors or people to adopt an artist or host an artist, because there's really not a lot of funding. And if you're a realtor or a doctor or anyone that would just really like to support getting more murals on the wall, documenting art history, or being a part, you can contact us. We're collaborating with a lot of different agencies, but 99% of the time artists are working out of their pockets and eating crackers for lunch.
We need to eat. If any restaurants want to feed us, please feed us.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be really great. So excited to have you. I feel like I have Barbie dolls on here looking at each of the screens. All of you are just such unique persons. So, well, Shannon, thank you. I'm going to move on to Dr. Yes, which is Dr. Karen Yesges.
Hello.
So, love for you to share your experience on the wall and, like starting out there from scratch and talk about your program.
Happy to do so. So I taught this last semester up at CSU Pueblo a creative wellness class, which is a part of our new minor in taking positive psychology and applying it to the arts and humanities. And I talked with Cynthia right before school started, and I said, I wonder if we could maybe do a class project of painting a mural. And she's like, you should go for it. And I'm like, I have no experience doing it. She's like, you should go for it. I'm like, gulp, okay. And I pitched it to the class, and they were like, yeah, let's try it. None of us had experience doing it. And so it was an adventure. We all jumped into the deep end together, and with Cynthia's mentoring, we accomplished a huge feat. So there was actually one art major in the class, and this was a great portfolio project for her. So she developed the design, actually, which is just these adorable black-footed ferrets that are an endangered species that have been reintroduced to the region. So we thought that would be meaningful. And they're just so stinking cute. So like I said, none of us were art majors, and everybody was a little apprehensive about trying to be creative and express ourselves with such a large canvas in such a public way. And so to have this student take the lead on creating a design, and then we all, started figuring out, okay, what resources do we need? Cynthia got us hooked up with Azaria to help us with learning how to use the ropes and harnesses. And before my students went out on the wall, I had the opportunity to go first. And so Cynthia was just getting the Ukraine mural up and going. And so fortunately, I was able to go out there and have my knees shaking without all my students looking and laughing at me. And they were definitely shaking, but it was so exciting. Just, I was just over the moon with the opportunity. And am I still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Not sure why my video went off, but maybe it'll start back up. There we go. And so that first experience on the wall, figuring out how to hang on, how to hold a paintbrush and a paint can and a rope, all of that was definitely a challenge. But actually, I acclimated pretty quickly, and getting everybody else on the wall with mentoring really helped. And then so we took it in stages. For me as an educator, trying to lead something that I'd never done before was big, and this was a huge project for us to undertake. And so with project-based learning, there's opportunities to set goals, to have that teamwork and communication, time management, problem solving, all of those kind of process issues. I watched our students go from, always constantly asking me, what do I do? How do I do it? And I'm like, I don't know. We're going to figure it out together. And to watch them go from that to problem solving on their own, communicating with each other, helping each other. Like Kara had mentioned, the challenge of holding the paint. They learned to work together and help each other out. And so they didn't have to keep going up and down the wall to get paint. That was a beautiful thing to see. They started laughing and playing and relaxing. They got in the flow zone once, and so did I. I had no idea how relaxing, as Shannon was saying, it's good therapy, right? It was just a wonderful gift to calm down and focus, to get over those initial fears of getting on the wall, and to just start and to worry about, will it look good? I mean, students and I were all, because we're not artists, pretty apprehensive about that initially. But once we got the grid lines out, once we started outlining, and then when the colors, oh my God, the colors just started popping on that wall. The excitement grew exponentially. And then the calmness at the same time of the excitement. It was an interesting mix. And so there was high energy, but calm and focused energy. And so that was lovely, right? Getting in that flow zone, and getting the colors to getting the paint on the wall and seeing it just come to life, and actually do a good job with it. I mean, I think we were all feeling a huge sense of accomplishment because we just didn't know what we were capable of, and that was the gift. To really feel, one day we were out there painting, I'm like, who's feeling a sense of accomplishment? And bam, everybody's hands went up, big smiles, and I'm like, right? And so self-confidence was built, feeling like they could do something that contributed to the community, something meaningful. They built relationships with each other, and in fact, four of the 11 students graduated, and at graduation they all sat next to each other. They're like, I made more friends in this class and had, more depth of conversation with others than I have had in my 4 years or 5 years in school. And so that project pushed them way out of their comfort zone. They're like, we had to work together to get this done in just a couple of weeks' time. And that, because of that squeeze, they thrived, and that was just a beautiful thing to witness. Unfortunately, we had good weather every class period, so that was helpful too. But being outside is part of it too, right? Being in nature, and even though it is on a 40-degree angle, being outside, there's something about being in the elements that really helps you connect, not just with each other, but just with nature, right? And that was a real gift. So that was something students comment. It's nice to be outside and not only be in a classroom.
Yeah, I was watching them, like just waiting to serve each other. What do you need next? It was really, really great. And you had some students from other countries, even at first.
Yeah.
But the confidence they had, it's like, okay, what needs to be done? And they just did it. And a lot of them, I was really surprised that, that confidence just like really translated into making it all happen collaboratively. And I really loved it. Plus you got me on the wall.
Yeah, that was a real gift. I'm telling you, Cynthia, you transformed that from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. I don't have the artistic words to express, but when you got on that wall, I knew what a gift that was to all of us, and I knew you were jonesing. I knew you wanted to be on that wall when I watched you get the Ukraine group started. I'm like, this must be hard to just stand here and watch others, and she's like, you were like, yeah. And so
yeah, you
I
were
was
whispering in my ear, and
out.
I was like, yep. So it was a good thing for me. Actually, I was great on my feet. It was my shoulders. And, a big difference between being in college and a grandmother. But I
Right?
know I can do it. So it was like, I'm looking forward to being back on the wall, because I got all this in my head too. And it's like, dang it. But I was so honored to work with your students and work with you and crack the whip a little bit. But yeah, I look forward to your next 2 semesters. And I'm glad that they could work from the bottom of the wall, because I think that helped a lot. Our next
Absolutely.
artist.
There was a lot of apprehension. And that was big for them to be able to work from the ground up. But after 1 or 2 times on the wall, they were monkeying around up and down that wall, you know. I mean, they really got comfortable pretty quickly. I think we all were surprised by that. And that helped again build their confidence. They were surprised how much they could get done when they collaborated well. I don't think, I think this pandemic definitely has made us have difficulties connecting with each other. And this was a really important time for them to feel a sense of community and connection, and to see what great things can happen when we actually work well together. I think they you know, expressed a lot of pleasant surprise by that. And it was a gift to watch. It was like, look at them go. They're not asking me anymore. They're just stepping up and anticipating each other's needs. And a lot of them spoke about, I now can reach out and ask for help when I need it. And that's a big thing, especially most of them are psychology majors going into services where that's hard for people to do, and we need to be able to express our vulnerability and say, I need some help. And I think they learned good lessons with that. They all said, I strongly recommend you do this project again. And so not one reservation. And I said, I think it needs to be all or none. The whole class does it or not. What do you think? They're like, absolutely. If you had given me an option, a couple of them said, I wouldn't have chosen it. And I'm so glad that I did this. You pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I loved it.
Well, power to you. Awesome program.
Well, thanks for helping us get there.
Yeah, you know, and can't wait to see the next one and what comes from all of that too. Yeah, it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
creative juices are flowing.
Dr. Yes. Yeah. And thanks for being a part in general. So we're just going to create, it's all just a chain reaction. We're on a train that's, I don't know where it's going, but it's going to be doing lots of cool stuff out there. And you know,
there's so many beautiful murals popping up. I got to watch Tia in action as well, and we were just wowed by her work on the wall. It's like, we met Tia and she does really beautiful work. So it's a real treat to be amongst such talent, you know.
Yeah, I'm honored every single time, constantly. They blow me away. Because when I was out there working, I was alone. There weren't other people painting. So, and we're just like Spideys everywhere. So thank you for that opportunity. I look forward to the next time, like I said. So our next artist is Tia Munson. So Tia, oh my goodness. How different was it? How was it for you when you first started? Like, you were on that wall, like, so fast and working so fast. You know, go for it. Whatever, you know. What did you learn in the beginning, or was it exactly like you thought it would be?
I learned to start with a background on the peacock, because I did everything. I did the peacock and then realized I didn't do the background yet, and I had all those little feathers to go between. But I just, I think I learned something different with every mural.
So what's your favorite?
I don't know. I thought 10, I think I've done so far. I haven't counted though. I'm not sure.
I think I've counted that you're on number 11 or 12.
Maybe.
Yeah. But, you know, what's your favorite part about being on the wall?
Just the peaceful think time that I get. Just, it really is therapeutic. I agree. Just the time to just think and be in my own head is great. I have a toddler at home, so it's not quiet there at all. But out there on the wall, I could just reflect on stuff.
So, what's the piece that you're working on right now that you're finishing up? It's a commission?
I'm working on a desert scene. It's he's getting feisty. There's a cat attacking me. It's a desert scene that goes from morning to afternoon to night in one scene. It's got a lot of sky and then some cactus and stuff in it.
Is there anything in there that's challenging for you?
I don't know about challenging, but the lightning I'm kind of nervous about because there's lightning in it. I've never really done lightning before, and I don't know how that's gonna go. But
Well, you always make it happen, whatever it is. You know, you always blow me away. If people go to our Pueblo Levee mural page, there are some quick little videos out there that go in really close on some of Tia's work up close. So we're really lucky to have videographers and filmmakers. Sam Ebersol is like a godsend, and most of the people that have helped us have been his students over the years, or collaborators with him. And I worked with Sam in '95 because we did a documentary on the levee as it was then for PBS. And Sam also did the flood, the Pueblo flood, the Great Pueblo Flood for PBS. So also Nick Neglich and Mike Sweeney and Tyler Schown, just we have an army, and very excited to be able to document pieces. And then Tia has her own drone.
yeah,
She's on drone number 2, right?
3.
Okay.
The first one is still in the river. I sunk it after we did after Shane finished up the last bit of his, we were trying to get a picture of it, and it just went into the river. It's still in the river.
It's waiting for you.
I still look for it.
Did you find anything with your magnet the other day when you were showing me? Did you get that thing out of the river?
Kinda. The top of one of the posts, the metal fence posts up there, my rope got caught on it and it flung it into the river, the very top cap. So I got that out with a magnet. That's it.
You are a huntress. Whatever goes down must come back up.
It definitely 11 cans of spray paint went in one day and I got all those out.
And it can be treacherous if you get wet, if you're going down and grabbing stuff. So, Tia, I think you're at 11 or 12. You just got approved for the Pueblo Water, the history 150th anniversary of Pueblo Water.
Yeah. Good job.
So, okay, so we're getting there. This has been great. It's great. I've never sat with all of you guys.
Hearing all of you has been amazing and so
I have a question,
inspirational.
Cynthia. I might have.
I mean, it's been amazing to hear the story of when you started and the ideas and things that you're working on next. But just, of course, Dr. Yes's story about her class, and it's just like that was incredibly inspiring and showing that you don't necessarily have to be an artist, a professional working artist. You just have to have creativity in you and to be encouraged to pull it out. And that's certainly true with her class. And I really hope this becomes a regular thing in your class, that you are encouraging your students to participate in this mural making, because it's there. And also the important aspect of them creating history in this city and having their creation on display all the time. It's so the amount of pride that you could probably feel in what you're doing it's amazing, So I just think that I have eye strain. I'm not crying. I'm really touched, but it's but also it's just really amazing to hear where you all started and came from. I have had a flurry of activity over here in the comment section and questions, and people are watching and they're just really, they're all inspired as well. I have some questions that I want to present to the artists. The first question I have is, what, and all, I would like all the artists to answer this. What is the starting point for creating a mural?
An idea.
Anybody can answer this, or you can go around and give your answer.
I was actually just talking to Tia about this right before we came on. I actually see my art before I start. It's just there. Like I see it on the wall and I just get out my paint and then it shows up. So, and that's different than some artists, because some artists are like, my aspen trees, I walked through the hall one night and they were there and I was like, huh, those are cool. I think I'll paint them. So I think my creative streak is different than other people's creative streak.
Right.
What about you, Tia?
I like fantasy art, and I read a lot of fantasy stuff, and I just want to make things pretty. So I'm trying to get all the like basic fantasy creatures out there, like unicorns, mermaids, dragons. I don't know what other fantasy things are. There's a bunch, but I just want to make things pretty. I don't know. I don't know if that answered the question.
So all of your creativity comes from different directions, whether it's literal or, in Tia's case, fantasy, or just her whatever she's creating in her mind, or her experiences. Another question that I have here is there currently a mural in the making or otherwise that depicts the flood of 1921?
I've seen a few in progress. I don't know about you guys. Shannon? No, not yet.
Are we referring to like on the levee right now? Because I know that there's the one downtown that depicts the flood, but I don't know of one on the levee. But commission us, we'll paint it.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple drafts, but I haven't seen any that actually get to my art committee. You know, so Shannon could do it. She would love that to be her next one for sure. You know, and there's lots of history.
It is really
Another
cool that there's
question
that down there,
in terms of Shannon, you were talking about like doing more historical research about Pueblo, and maybe that would be the subject of your next mural or ideas behind your next mural. There was a comment about the history of the hospital and the nursing staff, and there's just like a lot of interplay with all of these stories. There's several hospitals here. There's the psychiatric hospital. There's the and then the St. Mary Corwin Hospital.
And I would love to
so the
tackle
history
the
of the hospitals and
next.
healthcare. Yeah. So there's just somebody was putting that idea out there when they were hearing you talk about like research of historical themes that would be emerging here. So it was just an idea.
When Shannon was saying that, it made me think about I've been at Colorado State University, Pueblo, my entire career. It's going on 30 years. And I thought about the history of the evolution of that. It started out as Pueblo Junior College, and then it was Southern Colorado State College, and then it was University of Southern Colorado. That's when I joined it. And now it's CSU Pueblo. So that has a long lineage as well in our community. Made me think about that. I was like, that's a possibility.
That would be awesome. And I'm a
so
super proud alumni
history,
from
that's
CSU.
really interesting. Yeah.
There
So
you go.
CSU
Run with it, Shannon.
could sponsor it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Honestly, that makes me want to make a few phone calls, because I think this is such a good opportunity for us to, especially those of us who are, this is our home, this is Pueblo. Let's take that narrative and just make it beautiful.
Yep.
Celebrate our history here.
Right.
Just make things, like Tia said, just really embrace this and make it beautiful, and embracing the history of these places that make us who we are. That stuff should be on that wall.
Should be.
Well said.
Yep.
Excellent. So I have a question. So what is next for the Levee Mural Painters Group, in terms of like, or in terms of like projects that are ongoing. What's next? This is
Well, besides the submissions that we're getting right now, our goal right now, of course, we want to break the Guinness World Book of Records. But before we do that, we want to break the US record. And so I don't have the calculations in my fingertips right now, but for us to break the US record, we have to cover the wall from, it's called Wild Horse over by 11th Street, upstream, all the way to the Union Bridge, which is a big chunk. And then not far from there, we'll be able to break the world record and keep moving and keep the record. What's funny is South Korea broke our record after our wall went down, and they only broke our record by 50,000 square feet. And theirs are on silos. And what's funny is Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, theirs are on silos also. So it's consecutive space. So that's what we're trying to do. So, and actually we're trying to work
how
with,
far past,
huh?
sorry, Cynthia, how far past Union do we have to make it for the world record?
We have to go past Maine.
Past Maine, I see, okay.
We have to go past Maine, yeah. But I'm working on some collaborative pieces on the levee, upstream, like where we could work with youth along the bottom of the wall, like a ribbon along the bottom. And I'm talking to some other educators and other like 4-H programs. And then we can actually have the concrete be part of the background of a piece. So I have an idea for us to start painting like large circles that look like bubbles.
Yes.
And play with some optical illusions in that area, like, and be collaboratives. So we could have like 7 or 8 artists working at the same time, integrating ideas. So it'll be a little bit more organic. So that's what we're doing. And then the historic, I think, is going to be like a freight train, because we've already technically going to have 8 submissions, and they're big. They're big pieces. So I think we can probably put about 30 historic murals on the wall in the designated area. Is that a big answer?
That's a great, that is a very long answer, and it's the perfect answer. Thank you. So just to reiterate, for people that, because it's despite the wind, it is a perfect time to enjoy the murals, to walk in the evenings, early evenings, and see the mural. So just to reiterate, what are the stopping and starting points in terms of geographically of the mural right now? So like from street X to street Y, what is the...
Let's see. Well, if you're on the trail behind Dutch Clark,
Okay.
There is another pedestrian bridge.
Pedestrian bridge.
Yeah. Well, there's another pedestrian bridge that's an older one that can cross you to the other side, on the north side.
From Wild Horse Creek Park.
Upstream.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the 4th Street Bridge behind the Tea Palace. You can actually go down the hill right there, and that's Pillar Park, and the pedestrian bridge is an easy place to take a walk and see the murals. And I recommend walking on the trail and seeing the murals that way. It's kind of fun to actually walk across where the artists are working and see that perspective.
Right.
So, I've got people that wave and honk and yell, and, next thing I know, they're standing next to me on top of the wall. So, so I'm riding a bike out there. There's a lot of runners, fly fishermen all the time. Like, it's a whole different, it's a nature community I recommend everyone to go out there, but yeah, it's going to be blowing up right now. And just so you know, we've been painting year round since fall 2020.
Wow.
So, you know, July and August are not going to be nice.
Yeah.
And I'm worried
Excellent.
June's not going to be as nice either. So, you know, and
I really
and
liked
we're-
February. That was the perfect month of painting. I loved February.
yeah, you know, I mean, and we're like farmers. We got to watch the weather, the wind, the rain, the snow.
I'm a morning painter, and if it gets to be about 9 o'clock in the morning, there's a funky glare on it. So I
Mhm.
have to get there before the glare or after the glare.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I think evening is best.
Mural
So-
panel problems. That's avoiding glare. So
It's a good place to bring your breakfast and
yeah,
pop up with a
I'm just
chair
so
and watch
excited.
someone.
I'm excited to see the culmination and completion of this particular portion. So I'm going to reiterate and give a shout out. The Summer Solstice Festival is June 18th. All day. Is that from 9 to 9, Cynthia?
It'll be from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
And but there is a fun run in the morning with the Southern Colorado Running Club that starts at 8. And all you have to do is show up. And I believe it's a Predicta, and it's a loop. I think going all the way over to like by Moffett or Runyon Lake. You know, before there's a bridge where you can do the loop. So, but we'll have food trucks. We've got 50 vendors. We're going to have music program all day long.
Sounds
We'll have
amazing.
demonstrations. I'm sure I'm going to miss something. We'll have a beer garden at 3 in the afternoon. We're going to have some great bands. A drumming at 9 till 10:30 in the morning.
The line-
Poets.
Okay.
On and on and on. So all kinds of activities and levee painters painting on the wall. And if we're real lucky, there will be some river surfers
Nice.
out there surfing and people on the water and bicycles
and making lanterns. You can make
and
lanterns.
making lanterns
Awesome.
and walking in the lantern parade across the lit pedestrian bridge. So we're bringing a generator out and we will light that bridge. Our goal is to get that lit permanently. So
I have
It
shared the
needs to
link for
be.
the
That was
Solstice
such a
Festival. Go ahead. Go ahead,
So-
Shannon. Sorry. Say
Oh,
that
I'm
again.
sorry. I was just so excited about the lights on the bridge last year. I was like, this needs to be all the time. It was so perfect.
That's fantastic. And I
We'll
have
have to do a
shared
solar
the
company.
link for the Summer
Okay.
Solstice Festival in the Facebook page, in the comments for this program, and I have also shared the Facebook page for the Pueblo Levee Mural Facebook page in the comments on the Facebook in this program, so people can visit it later. Thank you all again so much for joining and talking about your creativity and the murals and just your process. It's been amazing to hear and meet you, and super excited for the event in June. And this is part one. We'll be also having another program June 9th, which is a week before the Solstice Festival, to meet more levee mural painters and to hear more about the creative process. And again, it's been so fantastic to have you all here. I'm so delighted. And we're just going to keep plugging it and keep enjoying it. And again, like I was saying, this is a time to get out there and really experience it firsthand and just to immerse yourself in it and just to, rediscovering what Pueblo has to offer in terms of public art, artists, supporting our community, and just keep doing it. Keep putting it out there.
Definitely.
It's amazing.
Definitely.
So I thank you all again for joining me. And again, this has been Brief Happen live from the library. And I thank you so much.
Thank
We'll see you next
Thank
time.
you.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
week. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.